Hey out there, welcome to this very special chat. Today I'm talking to Jay Cormier. So Jay, wow, how to paraphrase Jay. He does a lot of things and all of them are very cool. So rather than me go down the list, why don't we have Jay introduce himself. Jay, who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, I'm Jay Cormier. I design games and I publish games and I teach games and I do all sorts of things in the gaming world. So one designer, I designed all these games, and I guess I should say co-design because I designed with a designer, mostly with Sen Phong Lim, but this one's with Graham Johns. This one here, Draw Your Own Conclusions, actually by myself. I designed that all by myself. I don't need nobody to help me with all my games. I can do some games with myself. And
Very
then I'm
cool.
also a publisher where I publish the Fail Faster journal for game designers to keep track of all their notes. And I'm now a publisher where I've now created my own game called Mind Management based on a really awesome comic book. And that's finished its Kickstarter run last year very successfully and coming out this year. And I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, that was a lot in one breath. So usually people, when they have a game collection, it's like games that they own. All those games that you see in the background of Jay, those are all games that he made. They're all his games in the most
I can't fit them
sense.
all in either. There's more down here.
They've outgrown the space.
Yeah, there's more down there. All those are mine.
And
those are mine.
Do you have a running total of your published games at this point?
No, I keep forgetting actually, because I don't know if you count expansions that have its own box. Is that a game, or you know what I mean? It's I'm not sure if that counts, but it's near 20-ish.
Wow. Okay. And crazy. So this past year, why don't we do a 2019? Oh, I skipped a year. Let's do a 2020 in review. But before we do that, I'm gonna we have a friend.
Ooh, a special guest.
Yeah,
mystery guest.
A special guest. This is the co-guest. Hey, Alan. Oh, he's connecting to audio. So yeah, we'll give him a chance to ask you anything that he might have in mind. So 2020, what happened in 2020? In terms of your games,
yeah,
we know a lot happened in 2020 and a lot didn't happen.
Right. In terms of my games, that's when I launched the Mind Management on Kickstarter. It raised $191,000, so that was fantastic. Wow. Super excited about that. It's currently in the runnings for the most anticipated games of 2021 on BGG. For those that are interested, you can go over there and give it a thumb. It's item number 400 on the list in case you're wanting to do that. And as far as other games that came out, we had the Scooby-Doo Escape from Haunted Mansion, which is part of the Code of Chronicle series from the Op, which is an escape room in a box kind of a game based on the Scooby-Doo license, which is really cool. And then I don't have a copy of it, but it also came out just a month or so ago, The Shining, which is the second game in the Code of Chronicles. So again, an escape room in a box based on the movie The Shining, which is cool. We had Headlock Paper Scissors come out, which is a spin-off of Rock Paper Wizard. Oh, here it is. That's come out many years ago. Rock Paper Wizard, a game that uses hand gestures. They asked us to kind of redo the game, but for WWE. And so it's the same mechanics, but totally different game, actually. You had to redesign it and come up with some new mechanics and concepts and whatnot. So that's pretty cool. And one other thing the Belfort reprint finally came out this year, I guess, actually, with the new expansion, Her cool. Majesty's Civil Service.
Oh, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah.
Awesome. So all that in 1 year, right?
Yeah.
What did you do in 2020?
In the Hall of the Mountain King actually was released retail last year as well.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. And so Rock Paper Wizard, I'm very familiar with. We've done a mix and mash tabletop design challenge for that one. We just did another one recently. There wasn't a featured game for that. And
saw that.
These have been pretty popular. So I'm planning to do another one each quarter. And I want to make this one completely virtual. So the design package will be optional. They don't need to get it. And then the twist is going to be you have an experience that you have to design around. So you can pick your games in advance, but I'll give you a random experience from a list that I made. So like, for example, Eric Lang likes to pick his experience first. Like Cthulhu Death May Die, the one he picked was he wanted a game where you shoot Cthulhu in the face with a shotgun. So imagine that. And then you have to fit that into a game mashup of games that you have in your collection. That way it'll just make it logistically a bit easier. I don't have to, ship them the design kit out to everyone. They can just use what they have. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. We saw a lot of cool creations made with that. We had Rock Paper Wizard with like a dice game, and then like resource management. Yeah, with Pandemic. Yeah, all kinds of crazy stuff.
I think used Cthulhu. Actually, it was the Cthulhu Pandemic, I believe.
That's right. Yeah. So Cthulhu always finds a way. So some people might not be familiar with the mind management, but I do have some promo videos here. So why don't we take a look at those, and then we can talk about that a bit more.
Welcome. We'd like to show you how to play this game.
Mind Management, the psychic espionage game, is a hidden movement game for 2 to 5 players that plays in less than an hour. One player takes the role of the Mind Management Recruiter, a shadowy organization that uses highly trained psychic agents to influence world events. The opposing players team up as the Rogue Agents, resistance operatives intent on keeping minds free. So, while Mind Management moves in secret, trying to warp minds and recruit more agents, the Rogue Agents must work together by moving around the board, asking questions, and revealing information about where the recruiter has been, all in an effort to pinpoint the exact location of the Mind Management Recruiter. The Rogue Agents are armed with psychic abilities of their own and unique, infinite-use mental note tokens. But they're also up against the unkillable Immortals, who protect Mind Management and can also recruit new agents themselves. If Mind Management can gain 12 recruits or evade capture long enough, they will control the definition of truth and win the game. Mind Management introduces the shift system, where the losing side opens a package that contains new, game-changing items. Nothing is ever destroyed, and everything is reusable. Additionally, the included app allows for solo or cooperative play. Mind Management, the psychic espionage game, is a tense, paranoia-fueled game of deduction and second-guessing from off-the-page games. Do you have what it takes to shut down Mind Management for good?
For my money, I played a bunch of them, and I think this is my favorite hidden movement game of all time.
The game is an intense, seriously mental-driven game. This is a really, really good hidden movement game.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
There's a couple of things that really set this one aside from everything else. The biggest one is just the speed of this game.
It's tense, atmospheric, and above all, fun.
If you like deduction games, which I absolutely love, I think this is really going to hit that sweet spot for you as a gamer.
You always feel like you're making progress in this game, and that so elevates this.
I think they've done some things that are really unique in this genre.
100%.
Overall, I really, really like this game.
I'm just blown away. It really is top of the class.
With variable goals in each game, as well as asymmetric play, there's plenty to keep coming back for here. Not only that, but the shift system additions to your future games will make you seriously question when, if ever, you take this game off your table.
This is such a cool idea or design. After every game you play, you will shift the balance of the game slightly based on who's won and who's lost.
And these news sections are accompanied by little comic books. When you bring a digital app that could play the role of the recruiter, this game would be perfection.
I am capturing you, Kevin.
Dusty, the little
on
11
kid. Yes.
I am there.
Yes. It's just beautiful the way all this stuff comes together, and I'm super impressed.
Okay, so very high praise from all those reviewers, including Rado himself. So why don't you tell us a bit about the background of this? Because this game actually launched your whole publishing company. You decided to launch your company because of it.
Yes. So Sen and I actually bumped into, in a weird way, Matt Kint at Gen Con a few years ago, like 4 years ago, maybe 5 now. And it was just really through happenstance. We actually, Sen was at the Oni press booth at Gen Con, the comic book. They have an actual booth there, and they're actually making more and more games, so it actually makes sense. But before, they actually didn't have games. They just had comic books. Anyways, we were looking at Sixth Gun, And Sen just happened to say out loud, he's like, man, I wonder who you have to talk to get the rights to make a game based on this. And somebody turned around and said, oh, that'd be me.
Oh, wow.
And we're like, oh, hey. And we introduced who we are and what we've done and everything. And we had a meeting like the next day with Cullen Bunn and Brian Hurt, who designed Six Gun. And we talked about making a game in Six Gun World. That never ended up happening. But it was Cullen who said, it's like, you should talk to Matt while you're here. And I was like, Matt who? And I'm thinking in my head, it's not Matt Kint. And they say Matt Kint. I'm like, what? So as you can tell, I'm a big fan of Matt Kint. I literally have 2 pieces of his art. One was a commission I paid him to do. And another was a frame from one of my favorite comics he's done. Hanging in my room from before this all happened. So I was super excited. And so we met him and we just sat and we played board games together. He just started getting into board games like crazy. And he had played our game Akratiri right there, where weirdly, and loved it. And just through happenstance, he just happened to say out loud, he's like, man, I'd love a game to be based on mind management. And Sen and I are like,
well, I'm the person to talk to.
okay, yeah, exactly. Okay. I'm like, we're like, can we do that? And he's like, would you? Like, it was all this like innocent, like, can we, like, and we're like, yeah. And we're like, okay, let's do it. It was like just a gentleman's handshake. We're like, okay, we're doing it. And so we worked on it for a couple of years, failingly so. And we were failing very slowly, as it were. And it was taking a long time. We kept coming up with alpha after alpha of prototypes, meaning just we designed a game and it just failed, and we weren't getting the right feelings, and we couldn't figure it out, and it was just really hard. And it's a dense comic book to base a game off of. And it just finally came once we were trying to figure out all the different kind of mechanics we could use, because we were trying for so long to fit the trader mechanic into it, like a cooperative game that had a trader element, because we felt that would feel like you're trying to get in the heads of people and stuff like that. And we just couldn't get the right feeling of a game coming out. It was too mechanical, too processy. But once we came up with a one versus many with hidden movement, then we latched onto it and we were off to the races. And we made the game, designed it. We had a lot of ups and downs. One of the downs was the game was awesome, and all our playtesters loved it. We played it week after week. They kept wanting more little control, and we kept tweaking it. And then we take it to the Gathering of Friends convention, and had Matt Leacock and some other people play it. Some other big names play it. It's so exciting, and their brains kind of exploded, and not in a good way. Like, it was just too much to process. The learning curve was steep. They couldn't keep track of things. And it was a big learning lesson for us. It was like, we just threw too much at them. When you play with the same people week after week after week as your play testers, you realize that they keep wanting more control and more abilities and more things to counteract, and especially in a one versus many game, whichever side loses, they want more power, more abilities. And so we kept giving them more powers. Oh, and you lost, you want more abilities now you want. And so what we did is we stripped it all away back to the most basic it could be. And then all those extra things, we layered in what we called the shift system, which is all these extra secret sealed packages that come in the game that you slowly add those contents, just like we would do when we're playtesting. You want extra things? Oh, here you go. Now you can do those extra things. And so that came in. So then the game got signed by a publisher. Everything was going great. And then that publisher, unfortunately, went bankrupt and kind of fizzled. And so we got the rights back, and it was Matt Kidd himself in a meeting we had. He's like, why don't we just do it ourselves? I'll do all the art and graphic design, and you just publish it. And so I'm talking it over with Sen. Sen agreed that it would be good that I'll be the publisher, and he'll just be the designer on this one. And so now I had to come up with a reason for my publishing company to exist. And I thought, since I'm starting with my management, what if all the games I make are based off of comic books, specifically creator-owned comic books? Because I don't want to have to deal with like Marvel and DC and that kind of stuff right now. Maybe one day, but no, right now I'm kind of just more wanting to talk and work with creators that are passionate about their projects, So the end goal with the game will be a very passionate project from everybody.
Amazing. Okay, so got lots of questions here. First of all, if you design a game such that it makes Matt Leacock's brain overload, chances are you've got too much going on. So that's a good metric to go by. And the shift system, this is very interesting because this is an issue that a lot of games run into, where we want to do a legacy game where you have components that you destroy and that changes the game. But then you have to destroy the components. It's not replayable. And then other games, they want to front load all these rules. So there's a really high learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a solution that you came up with where you start off with the base game. And then depending on who wins, the other side gets a little bit more powerful. Is that
That's
the
right.
idea?
Yep. And on top of that, the game actually comes with a training mission. And the training mission in and of itself is a complete game that is satisfying. And you're like, you finish a game, you're like, oh, that was a training mission? Yeah, look what you get when we play the real game. Like, oh, cool. Immortals that move around the board. And you get like, it's like all this extra stuff. You're like, and it's harder. And you really do have to train the players how to play so that they don't get too complicated too quickly. But yes, and then you start getting these extra things. But just so it doesn't seem like your head will explode as well, the idea is that whoever lost the next game, that side gets to choose how many packages they want to play with. The other side gets to play with fewer. So if we have 4 packages open, I'm like, I only want to play with these 2. That means you have to play with 1 package.
Oh, okay. So they get first pick.
Yeah, exactly. So that's it's very fair. And but if you want the challenge and everything, yeah, if you've got 6 packages open, you can play with all 6, and the opponents get 5. And it's really, some of them really change the rules quite a bit in a fun way.
Okay. We'll keep those first as surprises for players.
Yes.
And that's one thing that I think game designers are starting to realize, is that experience points don't usually make sense. Like, you succeed and then you get experience, but if you fail, then you don't get experience, which is the opposite of real life. So I've been playing Imperial Assault lately, and it follows that system, right? If you win, you get 2 experience points, but if you don't win, you only get 1. Whereas I think it would be more logical to be the other way around. If you lose, then you gain more experience, and then that kind of balances out because you learn more.
You learn more when you're failing.
Exactly. Yeah. So fail faster, fail more.
Yes. Yeah.
And hopefully learn from it. So, okay. Before we move on to the next project that you've completed in the past year, Alan, do you have any questions for Jay regarding mind management?
Is he muted?
No, I don't. Yeah, he's muted. If you do, okay.
Nothing
Okay,
special.
yeah, he's got that.
Nothing special with regards to your questions. The game is very special.
Right. Yeah, he doesn't have any special questions for this special game. Okay, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting my copy. When is it going to be in retail?
Yeah, so we targeted February, but then, COVID literally happened in the middle of the campaign because it was March was my campaign. So middle of March, and all of a sudden things are shutting down. And we're like, oh, and our campaign slowed down and whatever. We still did really well, which we're happy about. But that plus some other unexpected things like Chinese New Year, which we knew was coming, but we couldn't get everything to the printers. We had some issues with game trays and the measurements and things not fitting right. And obviously I'm not going to rush it. So now we're going to be manufacturing after Chinese New Year's. I was trying as hard as we can to get things done before January 15th, but that ain't happening. So that means April-ish, May-ish is when it's coming.
Okay. So just delayed a few months. Tell us a bit more about the campaign, because in the game there are lots of little Easter eggs, right?
Yeah.
And even in the campaign itself, you had some Easter eggs where you collaborated with other Kickstarter creators.
Yeah, we did a couple things. Yeah. So the first thing we did is we actually played a game of mind management online. We'd actually, because it's one versus many, I put images of the game board state, and I played as the recruiter secretly moving around, and everyone could collaborate in the comments, chatting about what they thought. And at a certain time every day, we locked in their move, and I would enter their move and update the art to show them the new board. And we'd go back and forth. They had to try to catch me. And if they did, that unlocked something. That was cool. And the other thing we did is we had a secret mission of, I collaborated with a bunch. There was things hidden throughout. The eraser is the bad person in mind management. And so there's a little image of her with a speech bubble and some sort of letter inside of it. And so if you found these images all over the place, some were in other Kickstarter campaigns, like in their videos, in the bottom of their page on a thing, like just all over the place in reviews of mind management. They'd add a little video would flash up as if it was a glitch with it. You had to pause it to see what it was. Like all over the place, these images were, and once you collected them all, it had a task for you to do, and you had to actually finish the game that was played online. And there's in every game there's 3 locations that the recruiter is trying to find the recruits, and so it said post an image, those 3 images on social media and tag me, and you'll be entered to if enough people do that, then we'll unlock another thing.
Okay,
it was
that is
awesome.
so cool. So did people actually find all the clues?
They totally did. They created their own little guild on Board Game Geek, and they had like brainstorms and like, what are we going to do? Who's got this? And what do we, what are your thoughts on this? What does this clue mean? Yeah, they really got into it, and it was a blast watching them get into it.
Yeah. How many clues did you have scattered out approximately?
20-ish, I think, around 15 to 20. My only feedback would be for somebody doing this again would be to make sure you have a way to onboard new players that come in after it started, because I found that some people wanted to play along, but they thought it was too far in and they didn't understand how to catch up. So I would try to design it differently next time, so that if you're just starting, follow the these breadcrumbs so that you can still play along, but also have the thrill of the hunt.
So it's like a game within the campaign for a game.
Exactly.
And did you just contact the Kickstarter creators and the reviewers with this request to hide like a subliminal message?
Every reviewer was cool with doing it. Every single one. They're like, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. No problem. And so for the reviewers that did videos, I made a video specifically for them of a glitch with a thing, and just put this somewhere in your video. Just sandwich it somewhere that made sense. And some people that didn't understand it in the comments on the YouTube would be like, what happened at this time mark? Because it looks like some weird glitch happened. So
yeah, and now I want to go buy margarine.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's all about branding is the thing.
Right.
That's the branding for this game, is about psychic espionage. They want to manipulate your mind. And so that's part of why I did all that. I wouldn't do that for my next game, because it's not going to be about spies. So it doesn't make sense.
It's thematically on point.
Yeah.
And very much so. So a question from Alan: How much time did it take to plan all of the subliminal messages?
I created another thing I guess I did this year. I created a YouTube series called How to Start a Board Game Company. And so I've been doing about 40 episodes of those, of plotting every week what I've been doing that week to create a board game company. So I'm the kind of a proponent of starting way earlier than you think you need to. And that allowed me the opportunity to do things like that. Because it took a long time. I can't even quantify it, because it's just I do it in bits and pieces, and like there's some communication with this person over here, and like it just kind of slowly organically grew of like, what could my message be, what should it be about, then what's the task. And it even changed really near the end. It was actually Helena Capel, she was my Kickstarter consultant, and she's like, you should make the thing that they do something on social media, because then that's more advertising, that's more getting people talking about it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's brilliant. Of course, why didn't I think about that? So things change organically. So it's hard to quantify it specifically. Months and months and hours and hours.
Yeah. Yeah, that about sums it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. So what's next for Off the Page Games? What do you have on the back burner that you can share with us?
Yeah, it's tough to be able to share, because I have the second game and it's, I don't know, 80% designed. Like it's been designed. It's been at 100% in the past, this game. But then when I finally found an IP that I really liked and went after them, they liked it too. And so verbally, everybody's all in. We're just now in the contract phase. So I can't really announce anything yet, because they haven't signed anything yet. But I'm super excited about it. And I love the comic, and the art's amazing. And they're all on board, the artist and the writers on board. So it's gonna be super cool. And I'm like best case scenario, I could launch Kickstarter like in October this year, but probably more likely is going to be early in the following year that I'll be able to launch a Kickstarter.
Okay, and this was based on a graphic novel as your brand. That's what you're seeking to do.
Yep.
Right. And this time you designed the game first and then attach an IP to it, or did you design it around the IP and then approach them?
Oh, I see. It was the games. Yeah, right. The game was designed first, and it was called Skirmishes. and it was a game about trying to you had 3 totally separate battle areas, and on your turn you could only activate one of them. And so it's this, but you have to manage all 3 of these battles at for the whole game to work. And you get different things from different ones, and it was working fine, and it was a little abstract. And then once we got the IP and we started digging into that, and we've been layering it on thick, that it now feels like it couldn't have been anything but this IP, which is great. That's the fun part about it, is changing a game to fit the IP and making sure nothing else could ever be this game, because it is this IP. That's awesome.
Okay, yeah, so we'll definitely look out for that announcement.
Yeah.
Once you've made it. Is there any way that we can play Mind Management online in the digital age that we're living in?
It's on Tabletopia for free to play right now.
Tabletopia, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, we're almost out of time. Alan, do you have any more questions before we go?
We haven't even talked about the other big project I did this year.
We've got more. So we've got Fail Faster, you touched on.
Fail Faster, yeah, Mind Management, but we didn't talk about the fact that due to COVID, there weren't any conventions going on this year. And
project.
So the pitch project. So I created the pitch project and got Sen and Tyler Smith on board, and we ran a project where designers could upload their sell sheets, and we had hired some industry experts, like 30 of them, to review them all, give ratings to them, and they got sorted, and the top 50 basically got in and were able to pitch live to over 40 publishers, which is fantastic. And we're working on the next steps of that. And the next steps of the pitch project is going to be a site that is just more of a permanent site and not as event based, where you can upload your sell sheets. You can get them rated by jury judge people if you want them to be, and then publishers can go to this site and sort based on the things that they're looking for. If they want a 2-player game, or if they want a game that lasts under an hour, or all these different criteria, they can select, and the top rated games from our jury members will come up.
Wow.
And so you want to get your game in there so that, because we're going to try to train publishers to come to the site frequently, monthly, whoever knows, when they're looking for a game. Let's check here first, see the top rated sell sheets, and not just sell sheets. Now we're going to have the ability to do videos as well as even rulebook review. So
am I correct in understanding that it's kind of like a free marketplace where publishers and designers can get together and look at each other's catalogs?
Yep. And the key for the publishers is saving them time by curating the muck and getting the good ones to rise up, because they don't have time to look at 1,000 different sell sheets. So here's the top 5 2-player games that last less than 30 minutes and blah blah blah. And here they can kind of narrow it in as much as they want. Here's the top 5. You're like, great, and you look through them. This one actually is cool. Reach out right there on through our system, and bingo bango. So that's the goal. But we have a lot more design development work on the website to do yet on that.
Right, but you can really filter out different criteria, and that'll save so much time. Thanks so much for creating that resource. I think that's something that people will really appreciate. The traditional system is quite inefficient, right? It's a lot of just like, meeting random people and hoping for the best, and then, trying your pitch, and then the publisher, they have to listen through like a half-hour demo of a game that isn't even in a category that they want to publish.
Ideally, this might be the system that publishers use for everything. Like, hey, you want to pitch to me at Gen Con? You have to be rated high enough on this system, or at least I have to check it out. And then once I check it out, then I'll set a meeting up in Gen, because I don't want. I only have the live pitches are super valuable, but obviously I want to meet with the best, and I want to see some great games already. So
right, so
and publish. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we got big plans. It's just got a lot of development work to do.
Awesome. Okay, well, we'll let Jay get back to his many projects. He's got more games to design. So keep an eye out for all the new games that Jay has coming out this year. The Scooby-Doo one, I'm really looking forward to trying. Also, The Shining, In the Hall, The Mountain King, I've tried. Yeah, amazing work, and keep it up.
Yay. Thanks.